The Little Green Frog. Chapter 9. The Caterpillar Catchers. When Biddy woke up the next morning, she suddenly thought, "Froggy is lost and I might never see him again." She was sad, but then she had another thought. "I never told Jock that I was sorry I hit him. I'll tell him that the first time I see him." When Jock came to play, Biddy told him that she was sorry. "I didn't fight Giant Temper. I forgot." "That's all right," Jock said. "I'm sorry I threw away your frog." "That's all right too. I didn't think I'd ever get over being mad at you for that, but Jesus helped me." "You're funny. Do you think Jesus is real?" "He's real," Biddy said. "He's my friend and I belong to him." "I guess I don't know much," Jock said with a sigh. "I wish I belonged to someone special. I'm going away to boarding school when summer's over, and I might be kind of lonesome. I got lonesome when I came to England, but then I remembered that Jesus is with me, and I wasn't lonesome any more." "Jesus would be your friend if you want him to be," said Biddy. "Would he really?" asked Jock. Then he picked up a handful of stones and began throwing them away, one at a time. "Aw, I guess he wouldn't like me. You told me Jesus was always good, and I've been bad. He wouldn't want me." "Yes, he would, Jock," Biddy exclaimed. "Listen, let me tell you another Bible story. You know about Christmas?" Jack nodded his head. "Well, Jesus was born, and he grew up. He really was the Son of God, so he never did a bad thing. But when he was grown up, the people put him up on a cross, and he died." "Why did they do that?" Jock asked. "They didn't like him, because he was so good. It always reminded them that they were bad. But when Jesus died, he really died for us." "Oh, I don't understand," said Jock, and began to throw the stones again. "Just listen," Biddy said, and went on. "You said you were bad. I am too. Lots of times. We're so bad that we really should die for our sin, those bad things we do. But Jesus knew about us even back then, and he died for us. He died so we wouldn't have to. God planned it that way, so that if we would trust Jesus and believe that he really did that, we could be friends with him and go to heaven when we die." "Where did you learn all that?" asked Jock. "From Mummy and Daddy. That's what they tell the Chinese people, and it's all true. It's in the Bible. I'll tell you a verse from the Bible. 'For God so loved the world, that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth in him should not perish, but have everlasting life.' All I have to do is believe that Jesus really died for me, and he'll be my friend." Biddy nodded her head. "Besides that," she added, "he came to life again, and he'll never die. So when we belong to him, we'll come back to life after we die and live forever in heaven." Jock's eyes were wide with surprise. "Really? I sure would like to have him for my friend." "Then you just pray and tell him that you believe he died to take care of your sins and you want to belong to him forever." And so Jock bowed his head, as he had seen Biddy do, and talked to Jesus. "Jesus, I just found out what you did. Thank you. I guess you wouldn't want a bad boy to be your friend. So I'm glad you took care of all that when you died. I want to belong to you, and if you can, help me to be good. I'd like to be your friend." Jock raised his head and looked around. "Did he hear me?" he asked Biddy. "Oh yes, he's right here with us, even if you can't see him. Jock, you're now God's child, just like I am." Jock grinned. "This is going to be fun, having a friend who never goes away. Let's go tell someone." So off they went to visit Mr. and Mrs. Camp. They met Mr. Camp coming down the road with his shovel in his hand. "Hello, Mr. Camp. How's your bad leg?" asked Biddy. "It's better, thanks." Then he noticed Jock's big grin. "What are you so happy about, young man?" he asked. "I've got a new friend. I belong to Jesus now, just like Biddy does." "Well, that's fine," said Mr. Camp. He didn't know what else to say, so he asked Biddy if her parents had written to her from China. "Not yet. It takes a long time to get a letter, Mr. Camp. Where do people get money in England? You have to get a job and work for it. Do you want some money? Yes, I want to save some to send to Mummy and Daddy for the hospital in China. Why don't you go to Mr. Brown's farm and see if he has a job that two young folks could handle? Come on, Biddy, Jock said, pulling at Biddy's sleeve. I know where Mr. Brown is. We'll go and ask him. Thank you, Mr. Camp. They ran off down the road, waving to him. They found Mr. Brown in the barn feeding his cattle. Well, he said, rubbing his chin, so you want to earn some money for a hospital, do you? Can you catch caterpillars? Biddy wrinkled up her nose, but Jock said, Yes, we can. Mr. Brown told them that the cabbage patch was being eaten up by caterpillars, and that he would pay them 1 penny for each caterpillar they caught. Jock got a box to put them in, and off they went to the cabbage patch. Jock began pulling off the fuzzy little worms and dropping them into the box. Hurry, Biddy, he urged. The more we get, the more money you can send for the hospital. Biddy didn't like the caterpillars, so she carefully picked them off with 2 fingers and quickly dropped them into the box. She didn't get as many as Jock, but she kept at it, even though she was a little afraid of the fuzzy things. Say, you did a good job, said Jock. You aren't such a fraidy cat after all. That made Biddy feel better, and she got one more caterpillar just before they headed back toward the farm buildings to show Mr. Brown their box. They had caught 132 caterpillars, so Mr. Brown paid them $1.32. That won't build any hospital, he said, but it's a start. Biddy took the money, since Jock was glad to let her have all of it. She took home and put it in the box that Aunt Hannah had given her, and then she went out to play with Jock again. I've been thinking about your frog, said Jock. Do you think you'll ever find him? I will. Jesus will help me. I don't know how or when I'll get him back, but I'm sure that Jesus will send him.